Hello, everyone. We are here for another session of Summer School Pigsmoke. This is a game organized on the Gauntlet Calendar. The Gauntlet is an online game community, which you can find more on the links below. We are playing Pigsmoke, a game of magical academia and the long-suffering lives of the faculty staff. Uh, Last sessions we had dealings with Fae and demons as well as mysterious deaths. We're gonna continue that tendency and learn more about the secrets of the universe, or at least try not to get fired. Uh, we're gonna go around introducing our characters. So let's go around in the order of the character sheet. Let's start with Claire.
So Claire McDonnell is a relative newcomer to Pigsmoke after having been edged out of her position at Wombat Hole University in Australia for spending too much of the department's money. But Pigsmoke was excited to have her because she is a rock star. She's published some really prominent work, although she's now kind of trying to ride on her own coattails with the stuff that she's published before and get other people to do some of the work for her. She also has kittens.
Hello, I am Pearl. I'm going to try to get through this introduction without coughing, sneezing, or, of all things, hiccuping, which is what I'm going through at the moment. Well, I already failed. Anyway, I'm playing Bellatrix Donna Rogers, who is in the life and death department. And it doesn't seem like the life part of the life and death department really gets emphasized. I mean, I guess if you consider necromancy like bringing things to life, but we mostly deal with dead things. And lately we've been dealing with some unpleasant dead things and irritating some other people in the community, namely elves and fae. And by we, I mostly mean I, since no one is in the department seems to care about anything. So Bellatrix really just wants all of this nonsense to be over with so she can continue growing the flowers in her garden and ballroom dancing with Steve the skeleton, her best friend. But we shall see. The Fae seem pretty powerful. They did, in one fell stroke, reduce her entire skeleton helper army to shards of bone without even how do you do first. So she's doing her best.
Hello, I am joining the crew. I'm Ferret, also known as Sawyer, and I am playing Helena Saint, the networker of the paraveterinary medicine department. I totally got my job on my magical credentials. I did not blackmail, threaten, or otherwise finagle my way into the department. I totally don't know the head of the department's secret. And I have a research grant to study the Fae, which, I mean, if that means I have to use some of that research grant money to get into the best clubs and hottest restaurants of the city, I mean, for science people. And if you see a I think it's called taupe beige cinnamon, we'll call it a cinnamon colored cat that is a bit larger than normal and has a collar that says Mittens the Destroyer, contact me. Do not approach Mittens the Destroyer. Please do not. I need tenure.
Hello, I'm Eric. I'm also a recent transfer. So Jamal Nelson is a long-suffering, conspicuously martyred professor in the calling, binding, and sealing away department. it seems like they're sort of like interdimensional traffic cops, essentially, or like hall monitors even. He is sort of hollow-eyed, obviously, although perhaps exaggeratedly, in some kind of pain from unpleasant demonic encounters in his past, to which he will refer obliquely and mysteriously. And you will always be able to find him working late for someone else's paper, so he can remind them about it later.
Okay. And we start on the best time of a teacher's life, which is the weekend. And on the depressing Sunday afternoon, we see Elena Saint. Now, why would Elena Saint be going to an animal shelter at this time?
Well, there's rumors that one of the puppies that was born might be a bar guest. And if so, it'd be very bad if a mortal adopted it.
Mm-hmm. And why did Claire had to come again after just a few weeks to the shelter?
Well, she has a litter of foster kittens right now, and they have all gotten upper respiratory infections. And so it's very cute when kittens are sneezing, but she brought them in to get looked at by the vet on staff at the shelter, get some eye drops and maybe some antibiotics that she has to give to them. So she's there, I think, with a fairly decent sized cat carrier with, we'll say, 5 sneezing kittens inside.
Okay, so you see each other around the shelter. And you can recognize as members of the faculty, even if you are of different departments. And Elena, you know that Claire has a bit of a reputation as of being, the black sheep, the bad girl of alchemy. That too badass for Australia. Australia could not handle her. So she has kind of a bit of a rock star reputation, you might say. Well, Claire, you studied everyone's profile in detail, so you are pretty familiar with her social media report. So in a parasocial way, you know this paraveterinary very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I see you across the waiting room, and so because you've been at Pigsmoke for a while, we just don't know each other closely personally, right?
I've let's say for the last few weeks I've been partying hard, but yeah, I've been at Pigsmoke for a while.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll smile and say Helena. Or actually, no, I think I will say Helena, because I get very particular when people call me McDonald with a D, but that does not in any way mean that I pay attention to the exact correct pronunciations of other people's names. It's a very one-way street. So, Helena, oh, nice to see you here. I don't think I've seen you around this shelter before.
It's Helena, and I've rarely got a reason to come to these shelters. Why are you here?
Oh, well, I have 5 adorable little kittens with adorable little sneezes, and I think I'll take one out of the carrier and hold it towards you, and it sneezes a little kitten booger right at you.
Oh, you poor little thing. Oh, you should have brought them to me right away. I can handle this. I'm the best magician in the department.
I think I look over at the receptionist to try to gauge how long it's likely to take for the vet to be able to handle this, because if I can say this, and MC can tell I'm overstepping, but like it's a pretty busy day. There's like a lot of people. There could be a very long line ahead of me.
Yeah, it's pretty busy because it's Sunday, and that's usually when people have time. But that's also the time when most vets are not working, and they know that it's also the day in which the shelter's vet is making the rounds. So people always exploit this day.
Yeah. Yeah, so I look and I see that it's going to be a while, because I think maybe I just got here and there's all these people ahead of me. And, so I kind of assess the situation, and then I turn back to Helena and, do you have a spell for upper respiratory infections?
Oh, of course. You learned that in Paravet 101.
Okay. Yeah, that might, like, if you don't mind, that might take a little of the workload off of the vet here.
And she smiles. Like, I think she stands up so she can see like all the kittens in the box. Starts pulling out a few components, like a handkerchief that she crushes up a cough drop in, and like turns into like a little bag. But she's going to like try and trap the coughs in this bag and be able to send them somewhere else or whatever, or trap them. So I assume I'm rolling sorcery with advantage because this is part of my department?
Yes.
Well, sadly, I wasted the great roll at the beginning, which I got boxcars, but I will choose my green die and one of the violet ones and re-roll. Ooh, I got a 7. Okay, so...
Yeah, you can pick 2 options.
Ooh. My solution does solve this for the kittens, but it becomes someone else's problem. And... I think the magic effects are more than I had intended.
Yeah, it seems that the kittens had alleviated, but suddenly pretty much every other animal in the room starts sneezing. And everyone seems to be confused at what just happened. But good news is that Greg does not have to wait in line anymore.
Yeah, I think I see what has happened here, and I think I kind of grab you by the arm and kind of lean in close. I think we should go.
Oh dear. I just need to get this one animal, and yeah, then I can go. It's very dangerous.
Dangerous? Is it like a pit bull? Because they're actually very sweet dogs if you treat them well.
Of course. No, I mean, it's not dangerous in the norm, like to mortals, to people who don't know its powers. Like, a tiger isn't malicious, but if it rubs up against your knee, your knee's going out of socket. And I think she goes over to the person she's been trying to adopt this dog from. It's like, can we speed up this paperwork anyway? I mean, I have an appointment for it at the groomers.
Why don't you give me a red tape?
Oh, lords. Ooh, a 10.
Okay, so you get what you want. They are very baffled and confused, and they just quickly stamp the paperwork and give it to you, and you are able to spirit yourself away.
Yeah, and so she's cradling like this really dark it looks like the shaggy dog, but all black, and she's just holding this little mop thing as she's walking and like looking at the kittens. Like, you think they would be friends if they grew up together?
I mean, I mostly have experience with cats, and I don't know about experimenting on these ones.
Oh, of course not, darling. This is just random thought. I would never put myself above these kittens' safety.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'm not suggesting that you would.
But I hear that you tend to like more adventurous places than this, don't you? I mean, I saw you had business here, but have you been? And she'll like name drop some fancy restaurant or something. The food is just delightful.
Oh, I went there. We had a department dinner for our honor students there, and it was quite good. Yeah. We did accidentally turn all of their plates into soap, which is a little awkward for them. We had to buy them some new dishes, but you know, the food was good before it got soaped.
Oof, alchemy sounds intriguingly odd.
Yes, I mean you have to do things just right, and apparently one of our honor students didn't actually deserve those honors. So they were trying to just add salt, turned into soap. You know, it's a common mistake.
Do people still try to turn things into gold?
Yeah, they do. But after we crashed the stock market that one time, we have a lot of restrictions on that.
Mm. Yes, that does make sense. But we should definitely get together for some more, talk about our work, see what's going on, maybe help one another.
Actually, since you're in paraveterinary medicine, I'm actually starting work on a project that you might actually be able to help us with. Do you know Bellatrix Rogers?
I know of her.
Okay, yeah, she and I are starting a project, and I don't want to speak for her, but I think that you might actually have some relevant skills for our work.
Oh, do go on. What skills exactly?
So how much do you know about extinct marsupials?
Oh, you mean like the Tasmanian tiger, or there's such a large swath from your home country.
I'm particularly interested in the Diprotodon. It's basically a wombat the size of a car. And I know you've done some work on mating habits, and that's actually the exact thing that we are working on.
Oh, I bet I could find some people into the protozoological mating rituals of animals long since past. This will be great. I'd love to help.
Excellent. Yeah, why don't I'll send an email around to the three of us, and we'll see if we can arrange a meeting. I don't know your class schedule for the upcoming week, but I bet we can find something.
Okay. I'm at stylishharpy@gmail.com. And she'll also give you her cell phone number and everything.
All right.
So we cut to Jamal. So how long it has been since Jamal last taught introduction to demonology?
So forgive me if I know nothing about actual academics, but let's assume he teaches it early and often out of a sense of obligation to young students in what seems like it could be a very high mortality department. Plus, he likes to caution them exaggeratedly with horror stories.
Yeah, but so he has been teaching. He has not been taking breaks to research or anything. So he's actively teaching.
Yes. He feels a responsibility to mold young minds.
Okay, so what is his usual reaction when the students come with a question that they don't immediately know how to address?
Oh, so if Jamal doesn't know, or if the student doesn't
know? If Jamal does not know, what is his approach? Does he deflect to someone else, or does he research on his own? Does he get supplemental materials for the student?
I see. I think he will pretend that it is knowledge not to be known by humankind, and then see if he can steal enough time to look up the answer later, and maybe claim to have recovered it through, arduous trips to the lower planes.
Yeah, but actually what that means for a workhorse is during the weekend and lower planes, that means the Campbell Library, which is a library donated by the prestigious all sponsors of Pigsmoke, the Campbells, which themselves were famous demonologists, and it hoards basically all the forbidden books that the family had in their collection after the incident in which the last of their family was dragged to the lower planes because he forgot that there was a contract that had expired 300 years ago. So you're making your way to the Campbell University. What is the security system of the library?
It's fairly simple. Just basic biometrics. A fiendish viper embeds its fangs in your arm, extracts a certain amount of your blood, and stores it away for later. And then secondarily, you are required to sign with a bit more of your own blood. It's very exhausting. You should drink some fluids afterward. A contract swearing not to mishandle or misappropriate any of the texts within. Also, many of the books are animate and quite ornery, so there's a certain self-enforcing nature to it as well.
I can't believe you guys get an awesome Viper and everything, and all we get is key cards we have to swipe.
Well, I mean, the 14th time you go through this, you would kill for a key card.
Maybe so. I feel like we're behind the times a little bit.
Well,
they don't even work every time.
To be
embarrassing.
Fair, this is the Campbell Library because this is a big foundation sponsor. The actual building of the department does not even have locked doors. So
I suppose that's legit. I'm just saying, you're trying to show a batch of new students around, the facilities, or get a dead body discreetly into the building. And on the 5th time you've swiped it, gotten the little red light, with the beep. You just wish that it would scan your retinas or something. But my department doesn't like to spend money. So, key cards it is. Ho ho.
So, as you enter there, you have been giving extra supplemental materials to teach, as you're going to have to cover up for another teacher that has been themselves suspended. The thing is, there seems to be a lot of questions that he had not been willing or able to answer from the students. Basically, there was a lot of questions about how to determine the true name of a demon from many of the students, as well as very specific details on replacing certain ingredients on a summoning ritual that students on the first year shall not be able to. So, is there any topic related to that you want to look out in the library?
Sure. The latter sounds interesting, and I have a way to, I think, involve another player. I don't know if that's something I should sort of volunteer to do, I guess, but I could see the ingredient substitution being an intriguing realm of research that would eventually lead to Claire, I suspect, at some point, because I don't know the difference between salt and saltpeter, and I assume someone else does. So
you can see that you're not the first that thought that, because it seems that the teacher that you are replacing also seemed to be working with people in alchemy, and one of them was indeed Claire, and you got the details from the materials that the head of the department, the actual devil, gave you. And the thing is, yeah, it seems like a promising field, and you quickly pull some of the books that have, you remember, binding rituals that were seen as contradictory, and common wisdom and published literature suggested that they cannot be redundant, so clearly one of them must be more efficient with another, and there is this belief that the most modern protocols of demon binding are more efficient, but you start to figure out, well, maybe it's because they had different resources available and you can actually substitute things. And you know that the previous professor was focused on using fossils as a focus for demon binding, which would be very expensive. So come on, there has to be a cheaper replacement. And you quickly get a pile of these books. And let's do a delve deeper without time consuming to represent your workhorse experience. So we're going to role play research.
Great. Okay. Time to learn to use roll for your party. So, do I just, let's see, do I just 2d6 submit, basically?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Okay. So, research that is a straight 2, y'all.
Oof, okay. So you don't make a lot of progress. In fact, you start copying a lot of different rituals, and at some point, all you have is a random list of ingredients, 20 pages long, and you no longer can figure out which one was for which ritual. It's a mess. These are very long books. You look through the reference and waste time finding anything. That's when you hear the sound of glass breaking. Someone in the library.
Well, I will get up, rub my eyes. I mean, it's like my 16th all-nighter, so I'm not surprised I'm losing track of things. Plus, I assume there was an incident involving some kind of memory-eating demon at some point. And like a lot of glass, like a huge violent explosion of glass, or someone dropped a beaker.
More like window breaking.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I will actually hurry to go see what it is.
Okay, so you approach and you see a broken window, and you see raining outside, and there seems to be a trail of muddy footsteps as someone is moving inside the library.
So someone's broken in. I see. Okay, so depending on what kind of domain magic is supposed to have, it seems like in a place such as this, I would want to like alert the books that someone has broken in and that there is an intruder among their number, and maybe they would, fly off the shelves and flap at and or bite this person.
Yeah, that seems casting as well. And it's part of your department because you're partially releasing the binding of the books.
Yes, I will. That's perfect. I'll run down the aisles, like scraping away selective parts of the engravings that keep them mostly quiescent. Hopefully the right ones, obviously, because I'm kind of acting in a hurry here. So what do I roll anything or?
Yeah, you roll with advantage, so you roll 3 dice and pick the best ones, and you get sorcery. And
what you can do and roll for your party is just mouse over 3 of the die, click each die once, and then press re-roll, so you don't add more.
Oh, I see. So I can add 1d6 and then roll all of mine again, basically. So like now there's a third one, and I'll just click, re-roll selected, like so.
Yes, that will do.
Great, that's a 10.
Well, that's great. Okay, so you only pick one unintended consequence from the list.
The last book I needed, the book that would perhaps help me correlate all these ingredients into meaningful categories, in a fit of pique, just flies completely off the shelf and out the broken window, to be at large in campus.
Yeah, one of the books, well, and a few others, but things that there are multiple copies and are not as useful or are useful for another professors, get out of the window. One of them wallows in the mud, but you can hear the panicked screams of someone as they are beaten into submission by very angry books. So what do you do?
I will run up to them, and I don't think of myself as necessarily a very straightforwardly authoritative person, so I don't think it'll be very impressive, but I'll still say something like, "Stop right there. What's this then?" But if they weren't being bitten by books, I don't think it would have much of an effect.
Yeah, they are covered with 1,000 paper cuts, and you see that it's a student that is in panic trying to to cover their soft bits from the books. Please restrain them.
So now that I know it's someone I have a certain amount of authority over, I think I can try to recover some of my poise, and maybe there's a way to I guess I scratched off all the runes. How do I restrain them? I guess I will go to the student and draw a temporary circle around us, so I can at least interrogate them in peace for a moment.
Yeah, the student seems a bit relieved and says, "Thank you, Professor." Yes, Professor?
I don't think thanks are exactly in order. I don't think you know what you've done by breaking into this level of the library, and I will have an answer from you.
Oh, yes, surely. I needed a book. That's why I came into the library.
You know there are ways that don't risk your mortal soul, right?
I'm afraid that point is past done. I'm here to save my soul. That is already doomed. I guess that changes one's perspective of what they should or should not do.
So is there a way to work a charm quickly to understand the student's metaphysical status, to see if they are I don't know if it's a CABSA thing to know like if their soul has been stolen away and isn't in their body anymore, or what. Basically, I want to understand what I'm sort of dealing with magically, because it sounds awfully ominous.
Well, you just made the magical circle around you, so you're pretty sure that there is nothing riding on the student.
Gotcha. So the student is intact, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see then. Yeah, I think. If they seem like distraught, I think I would want to adjourn to like a cafe somewhere with the understanding they will still be in a great deal of trouble, but I need to understand what's happening.
Well, they seem more bothered than distraught, but they follow around and with you. Well, Professor, I told you I came here looking for a book. I would love if you let me continue on my studies.
What has doomed your mortal soul exactly?
My very birth.
I see. By the way, are we all basically like what most people would recognize as like baseline humans?
I think the PC is pretty much yes.
Okay, and is this student also human?
Yes. Well, he has the typical marks of those groomed in privilege. So for the most part, mostly human.
Interesting. What about your birth has doomed you?
My name is Conrad Mansell. So I think that a professor of your department probably has heard about my family.
I would like to know if, in fact, I have.
Yeah, let's roll a research.
Excellent. Oh dear. Well, I'll roll the leftmost. Okay, 8. Could be worse.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you something, but it might not be entirely true. There might be information missing. You know that the Mansell family carries a curse, much like the now gone Campbells, that bound them to a demon lord. You cannot recall exactly which demon lord, but you know that every seventh child born to that family carries a demonic curse with them. It will inevitably claim them.
Such that they must, like, do the bidding of the demon lord, essentially?
That you don't know. You don't know the details of the curse.
And what book is it? Oh, of course, I'll pretend to know exactly what he's talking about. Oh, yes, of course. And so, what book were you hoping to find?
I was actually hoping to find one of the more advanced tomes of demonology because I would be interested in learning how that curse came to be in the first place. And if I am to do something about it, I should understand how my ancestors did what they did. And I figured that among the Campbell collection, there must be such book.
Well, so although Jamal is offended by the breach of decorum, I don't think he's able to resist an unsolved question in his field because he has no life at all. So I think he will professorially offer to take Conrad to the stacks to look through the books to find something appropriate because now his interest is piqued.
Okay, so let's quickly check up with Pearl. So, Pearl, are you able to do a scene?
Yeah, I think it just might be a little bit bleary and sneezy.
Okay.
Um,
So, Beatrix gets called by the ghoul security at her department. Professor, the bodies that you requested, they arrived. They are here waiting for you to animate. So you can finally get your skeletons back.
Okay, so it's not the one that Claire was gonna bring. It's just the bodies I requested last week.
Yeah, that's up to Claire. These are the ones that you put to the requirement last week. They just arrived, finally.
Perfect.
The Diprotodon skeleton to show up at this point, that's totally cool with me. Whatever you think would make your scene the most interesting.
How about I'm gonna put away these, like, find somewhere to store these until I can get to them. And as I'm heading out, I run into you with this other skeleton. Because I would really like to have my skeleton army back. I never even got to use them. So are there enough people delivering said bodies to carry them in for me so I don't have to deal with that?
Oh yes,
Bit.
there are 3 people with crates, and they're just putting all around your office/classroom on the graveyard. And okay, so how do you proceed with reanimating the dead?
Well, it's a complicated ritual. So I'm actually going to go get Steve the skeleton, unless I were to run into someone like Claire on the way to get him,
I
to
think,
sort of help me along.
yeah, I think at this point Claire is still on the vet or coming from the vet.
Okay, so no. What was the name of your creature, Claire?
Diprotodon?
Yes, it. So no Diprotodon. So I'm gonna go back and wake up Steve, who's a bit grumpy because he was enjoying his nap, which is a bit silly since he's unconscious most of the time. But that's Steve
Seriously,
for
on
you.
a Sunday? Don't you have a life? You should go back to Demon Cult. You were more fun at that time.
Yeah, but you know how bodies are. You leave them out for a day, and you know
Yeah, this
it's
is
really
what I.
better if I strip them of all of their flesh and whatnot now, because otherwise they just get kind of gross and unpleasant smelling. And I know you don't have a nose anymore, but if you did, you'd know what I was talking about.
Yeah, I don't miss having a body and having to treat it, and it kept getting smelly. Yeah, so just get rid of the whole thing.
Well, I can't really get rid of the whole thing because I need them to have my skeleton army, but if you're possibly willing to help me, get them completely cleaned off, it would go quickly, and if maybe we could go to the Demon Council. They allow skeletons there.
Sure, let's do it. Okay, so I guess this is going to be a sorcerer's ritual.
Okay.
So it's your department, of course, so you get advantage.
Okay. And I'm going to assume we've already stripped the bones and they're ready to go for this then. Moves are in the thing, but I find them. Why can't I ever find the moves in the keeper? Bother. Are they in the keeper, or am I just...
The Iron the Keeper, there is a basic move sheet.
Why can't I see it? That's weird.
You could join me in the blissful ignorance of never having looked at the moves. It's a very relaxing way to play.
I mean,
Okay,
I've looked at them before, so I know they were here at one point.
Yeah, just use the reference sheet.
Thank you. Oh, I already had the that open. I don't know why I didn't just open it. My apologies. Okay, so I'm going to cast. Where is it? Cast a spell. When you use your magic spell problem, roll plus sorcery, and I get +1 for my department. And my sorcery, I believe, is my highest stat. Sorry, this is taking me a moment. I'm a little bit blurry. +2, so that's going to be a +3 to wherever this roll is. No, not
since
3
in your
dice.
department,
+3.
no, since it's in your department, you get an extra dice. It's not an extra +1.
Yeah, advantage, not +1.
Thank you for reminding me. That's actually better for me, probably, but
It's always better to get advantage.
so that's a 12.
Perfect. It goes flawlessly. Get your skeleton army back. And what is the secondary effect?
It is. Sorry, I don't know why it's so small on my screen. One unintended consequence. I'm going to say the magic affects far more than I intended.
Yeah, so you're casting this on the graveyard. And not only you.
Wait, they brought the bodies
awake,
to the graveyard, not to my general office?
I thought
That
you were
was
saying
silly.
next to the graveyard.
Okay.
No, you clarified that. We did not establish that. So, where is your actual office then?
I teach mostly in the graveyard, but I have the room in the department building with all the obsidian furniture.
Oh, yeah. How this fancy building. So, you cast this, and as you're doing that, you draw the attention of one of the endless ghosts on the department. And the ghost seems to be reorganized by the necrotic energies flowing, and it seems to recover a bit of composure. And you can see the ghost seems to be of an old teacher, uh, and she is dressed on 50s fashion. And as she coalesces, she turns to you. It has been a long time since I was able to fully materialize on this plane. I cannot say that I approve.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you. I was just trying to work on these skeletons, and it must have gone slightly overboard. Is there anything I can help you with to get you back home?
Uh, no, I'll be fine just around here. But I have a message for you.
Oh, delight, joy, hooray.
Yes, I must tell you that there
Always
is a soul that does not belong to any of the underworlds or infernal realms stuck in the walls of this place. Well, of Pigsmoke.
Is it, do you know if it's the soul that got severed from that student?
It seemed it would be the case. Now, your overlord, as I said, has a message to you. He would like for you to stop whatever is making this nonsense, because it's really bad if mortals get away from their guild by severing their spirit at the right moment. And they would hate if this would become popular for dying demonologists to do.
Wait, so just so I understand, the powerful one that sends me cryptic orders wants me to continue my research in this so that I can stop it?
Yes,
Okay.
I think a very glaring letter to the editor condemning the practice will do.
Okay.
And the girl seems to be losing consistency, and her word seems to become more distant.
I should say a proper goodbye. That's the only polite thing. Well, it was nice to meet you. See you next time a spell goes wrong, but hopefully it won't. Good luck in the afterlife. And she's gone.
And she's gone. Now, we get back to Elena and to Claire, as they also go to Pigsmoke on the weekend. But what is the procedure that they go through to keep the bar guests in safe conditions?
So we're going to the veterinary department to deposit the Barghest, you're saying? To get into there is a... we don't have the money for a unicorn, so we got a bicorn, which are flesh-eating Indian horses kind of legend. But the thing is that if you don't smell right or have the correct credentials, the bicorn tends to chase you down, eat you sometimes. So Helena pulls out this little like perfume vial, spritzes her wrists and around her neck, and lets the bicorn smell her, and then she whispers, +1 in its ear, and like it just sort of like glares at Claire and the box of kittens as they walk by.
So,
It looks like we lost Ferret for a minute there.
yeah, we lost Ferret.
The black and white freeze is kind of eerie. It's like they died and we're looking at their last moments or something.
Right.
Yes, it's very uncomfortable. Okay, so Claire, how often did you go into the paraveterinary department?
So I want to say, and I wish Ferret was here to, consent to this, I guess, that this would actually be the first time I've been over there because, my research involves living creatures. But when I published my, famous 2013 paper, I actually got a lot of pushback from people in the paraveterinary medicine discipline. They didn't like my methods. They, disagreed with my theoretical approach. And so I've been kind of avoiding that department here on the assumption that they just don't appreciate the kind of groundbreaking work that I'm doing.
So sorry, Ferret, you disconnected while we were establishing things. So I just asked if Claire had come here often. So what were you saying?
The bicorn, like to get in, she sprays this like special kind of perfume on her wrists and around her neck, like lets it sniff her, and she whispers into its ear +1 and like motions to Claire box kittens and allows them to walk past it as well, but it's glaring at Claire the entire time.
So how are you containing the Barghest?
I'm taking the Barghest to the young animals center or resource center, and basically depositing it to the teacher's assistants who watch out for all these young up and coming supernatural creatures. And I think she's gotten a leash for it, and she's letting this like tiny little black mop walk around and lead her about.
Okay. So anything that Claire and Elena went to accomplish on Pigsmoke this Sunday before advancing to the week?
I mean, I'm happy to show you the Diprotodon skeleton if you're interested in seeing what I'm working on.
Oh, definitely. So yeah, let's. I will gladly look at that skeleton and see what I can do about it.
Okay. So I'll bring you back over to my office. And I guess, do we want to establish how we get into my building as well? So I don't think
Everyone
that's
seems to be doing it, so go
come
ahead.
up. So yeah, so
I bet it's very technologically complicated for unnecessary reasons.
so
we're academics.
the door to the building where alchemy is located it's an enormous door, and it's made entirely of lead because someone was trying to transform lead into gold and accidentally transformed a lot of things in the building into lead. And it used to be that you just had to just really haul on this heavy lead door, but the chair has installed a essentially like one of those wheelchair accessibility buttons where you hit the thing on the wall and it's like it's motorized to open the door. But Claire, as kind of a protest, still always opens the door by hand. So pulling on this gigantic, ridiculously heavy lead door. But yeah, so I'll lead you in to my office, and right next door to my office, I open the storage room, which you can smell it from the hall, and then I open the door, and it just like hits you with the smell of all the different waste products that we've generated in all of our work that we've been kind of stuffing in this closet in order to just have some place to put them while we figure out how to properly and environmentally consciously dispose of them. And then in the sort of one side of it, I have a whole bunch of crates, like wooden crates, each with a very large bone in it. And then sitting on top of the stack of crates is the skull, since I had taken that with me to my meeting with Bellatrix, and I haven't like fully put it away yet. So there's just like this giant wombat skull staring at us from the top of the stack of these boxes.
Yeah, Helena walks in and like pulls out a different perfume vial, sprays some like fish market smell around just to get rid of the smell of like alchemy waste, which now the smells are mingling. This is going to be terrible for everyone else. And like, oh, this is intriguing. Am I coming through? Can I be heard? Okay.
By me, yes. Not anymore. Okay. Question that I'm gonna repeat. Okay. No, wait. I wait.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. So
Okay.
just out of curiosity, I was having this issue the other day, and when I turned the video quality down to, I can usually do it low definition. I had to go to low bandwidth that turned the video off entirely one time in order to not drop like that. So that might be something that, if you haven't already, fiddle with that setting, that might help.
We have a bad internet connection where I live.
Okay,
Sometimes
so
that's just probably what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, she looks she pulls out this bottle of perfume, which what looks like perfume, sprays what is like fish market smell around to mask the alchemy components. I mean, now it's just going to be a horrible mishmash for everyone else. And she looks at the skeletons like, Now, this is amazing. How big were their pouches?
I just lost Ferret again.
They asked how big were their pouches.
How big is which?
Yeah,
How big the pouch of a diprotodon is.
yeah,
Oh, like the diprotodons, like the marsupial pouch
yeah.
that it would
Yeah.
have. It would be. I'm gonna say this is a pretty big one. It would be big enough, I think, for like short person to fit inside.
Oh, intriguing. And she'll move closer and pull out her cell phone, try to take a selfie with the skeleton. Do you allow it?
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing a lot of work with this skeleton, and the more people see it and are reminded of my work, I think the better.
And she'll do like the hashtags, like Pigsmoke, new research project, and then like take a picture of with you, and it's like research buds, all sorts of just stuff she's putting up on our account.
Nice.
So are the two
Oh yes,
a project, or are you joining a project in course?
I am joining the project to see what I can do to help. Yes, and you definitely got the correct hashtag. If I do not use chonk, this is a very bad decision.
Okay, so oh god, so many projects in which Claire is. Which one is this?
She's just hoping somebody else will publish something and it's got her name on it.
Yeah. So which one is this project then?
Yeah, so I think this is just Helena joining the existing project that I had with
Bellatrix, right?
Bellatrix, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so added there as a co-author. Okay, now as we leave what you were able to do within the Sunday, and as Bellatrix is communing with the dead, and as Jamal is interrogating the student and seeing what they can get, we get to the next day and a new week starts. Now, this is not mandatory for any of you, like you, but who is teaching this week?
I definitely am.
So Jamal and Elena are teaching.
Yeah, I think it's late enough in the semester at this point, as in a few weeks in, that Claire has kind of mostly checked out from her teaching. She's got other things going on that she's worrying about.
Yeah, getting those papers. And Bellatrix?
For me, it's going to depend on whether Claire ever brought the skeleton, and also, it's been a bit since my disastrous meeting with the elves and the fae. So I would like to be able to ask a non-player name. Hold on. Helena, since she's familiar with the fae, if she thinks there's anything to be done. And if nobody has any new information or things to give me, I will teach. And otherwise, I would want to investigate.
Could we maybe have a scene where Helena is setting up her class materials and Bellatrix comes in?
Works for me.
Before we go to that scene, so that we know what is happening on that scene, let's resolve the teach roll for both Jamal and for Elena. So go ahead and roll plus charisma for teach.
I got a 10.
Well, mark XP, everything goes perfect. The class goes just as you wanted, and nobody is bothering you after the class is done.
Sorry, I realized I think I have some kind of move that modifies how teach works, or it sounded vaguely familiar when I was skimming.
Okay, so what is the move?
Oh no, patient one-on-one tuition for workforce. Never mind, not teaching. And there was one for cabs. You can roll teach plus sorcery instead of charisma if you exhort your students to inadvisable bargains with dark powers. Oh, I didn't pick a move. That doesn't sound like me. So I'll just roll charisma. Perfect.
Okay. And pick moves because some of them are really fair.
Yeah, it's kind of important. Leftmost dice. Did those re-roll? They rolled the same. Okay, great. So that's that's a 6.
Oh, that's a 6. So a 6, I think you also don't mark XP, right? Yeah. Okay. So the class is a disgrace. Maybe it's the events of what happened last night in the library or something else, or it's the extra load. You're starting to get why this class in particular got to the nerves of the teacher to the point in which he was suspended, and you start to wonder. Yes, there's no wonder that these guys are getting themselves killed because they are pretty much all the students that are taking this class, they are snooty, arrogant bastards that they think they know how to deal with demons and devils, and they are only, interested in learning how to do things and not the safety protocols and why they are in place. And you keep trying to teach them, but it's not reaching them. And you get the feeling that something really bad is going to happen before the class is over, and it is. You can hear, no, before anything else, you can smell it. You can smell brimstone, and you can see the color draining out of the room. You recognize it as some student has actually opened an unstable gate within the classroom, and you have to find it and seal it fast. And we get to the other classroom that is actually going very well. And after the class is over, Bellatrix approaches.
Yeah, so Helena is dressed in her absolute fey finest today with hat with the faux fur of like a seal wrapped around it. Her shirt has just different skins on it, but like they all look. It's obviously like fake, like vegan leather and things like that. Because she would never wear a living creature, but she sees Bellatrix, and you wear kind of like the villainess Domish outfits, right?
Yeah, I tend to wear mostly black with like flowing cloaks and other things, but I'm not wearing it right at the moment. I wore like a flowery wreath last time to be just delightfully incongruous with everything else. So you can imagine any kind of flowery accessory you want with an otherwise BDSM villain look, and that will work.
Yeah, I think Helena looks something. Oh, lilies! I would have expected nightshade.
Well, I hate to be typecast.
Very true. I mean, it looks great on you anyway. I love this entire look. I should try it next time I go out clubbing.
We should go together sometime. I'd be happy to dress you up. Maybe get a
Oh,
little more eyeliner on there, make you look a little bit ghoulish. Always works for me.
I could party with the Unseelie Court. That would be great. Yes, we'd have to go clubbing together.
It's arranged then. But as much as I'd love to talk about it, I do have something I need to talk about first before I forget, because you know how forgetful I am. You have some. I've just heard, so I might have it wrong, but some relations with the Fae, some association.
And she stands up like taller. It's like, I am an expert on the Fae. I went to Arcadia my senior year of high school.
Okay. So do you get news from them or information?
I get a lot of things from the Fae. You need to be precise. They have this extremely hard to understand and very trapping laws they follow. Like, hostily.
I noticed. So I guess, have you heard about the encounter I had the other day with the Fae?
No, you
I didn't know
encountered the
how
Fae.
often you spoke to any of them. I did, rather unexpectedly. I went down to the forest where NPC dead. What's the NPC's name again?
You mean the Fae?
No, the NPC whose body was brought in that I went to go investigate.
Oh, the student. Yeah, it was Melly Clark.
Melly Clark. And then the Fae also is an M name.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm looking at the sheet with all the NPCs, but like I can't
Mythilan.
find them
Mythilan.
all. Yes. So yeah, I went to go investigate based on the sheet that we received of the body. Because this whole like tattoo demon magic thing, we here in the Department of Life and Death, we take knowing our demon magics very seriously, and this is new to us, especially since it backfired so terribly. We thought we should probably find out so that we can stop other students from doing such. Don't speak ill of the dead. Such foolhardy. That's still negative. Bother. Anyway, I showed up and I had my little skeleton army with me, mostly just to help carry things back if I needed anything, that sort of thing. They don't really have minds of their own. But before I could even really investigate, they were all reduced to shards of bone by a contingent of elves that rode up and a bunch of fairies who seemed to be in line with them and were really displeased about the whole demonic scene ritual thing in the forest. And I think I managed to convince them that it wasn't me and they should not like destroy me instantly. But some reinforcement on that.
Did they declare intent to assault? They should have warned you that their strike was coming.
Yeah, it was quite. They did. At one point, the leader did apologize for being inhospitable, even for the Fae. But they said a lot of disparaging things about mortals, which they always do, and don't seem to realize that some of us who specialize in this kind of thing might live a little bit longer than the average mortal. But I let most stupid slide.
But no. Did they declare intent to attack you before they destroyed your skeletons?
They did not. They did not declare anything. They just kind of showed up, and the skeletons were destroyed.
I'm so sorry, but this is good. without the law of hospitality, they may owe you a
Oh,
favor.
it is always good to be owed a favor by the Fae. They don't break those, do they? It's like but there's a rule.
Yeah, they don't.
We have a problem because I tried to do that. I was told, and maybe you know more about this than I do. Maybe they were lying, but that they had an agreement with the university not to make any pacts with any of the faculty or students. So they refused to engage in that kind of discussion with me. But perhaps using your connections.
They pulled this trick, a pact. Ugh. And she starts pulling out papers upon papers. Yeah, she starts pulling out papers like it looks like a law firm kind of thing almost. It's like if I can catch them in a loophole, only will they.
Fair. I missed almost all of that. You were roboting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It sounded interesting. The little tiny snippets I got.
But yeah, she starts pulling out papers, looking like a lawyer, like trying to research like the way the they screwed up, what pact means, what the
Barrett?
She's roboting again. Ferret's roboting again. Now you're roboted.
I heard about half of it, I think.
I think I got the basic gist.
Yeah.
I think I might have lost more than the rest
looking
of you
through papers.
Right.
Yeah. Looking through papers, trying to find a loophole.
Okay.
And I think it's a research role.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is that it can be a time-consuming role, so we're gonna save that for that later.
Gotcha.
So the question is, does Bellatrix teach or not after learning this?
Well, I haven't learned yet whether that loophole exists. So,
yeah,
I guess so.
Okay, so the last time you had problems with Caroline Myers because she asked you a question. She wanted to know if it was possible to arrange her body so that there was preemptive reanimation. So, are you gonna focus the class on that, or are you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, she's the only student who's asked about it, right?
Yeah, but how are you gonna address her question?
Well, what I had told her was to look up an incredibly detailed, I gave her, what was it, like a section number with multiple decimals and letters behind it, and then like a bunch of stuff. So she was supposed to get back in touch with me after reading that. And as far as I know, she hasn't done so.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, for now, continue ignoring that situation because it was a dumb question and I don't want to answer it unless I have to. What I will teach.
Okay, so go ahead and teach.
What I would like to teach is more of an ethics matter than an actual spellcasting matter. So I'd like to talk about, maybe I'll bring up a smidge, getting people ready to be animated before they actually die and what that implies and how we don't generally endorse such things, as well as, not using students or helping them out with dumb things. And that generally, while we may do things that people look down on, we do have a trying not to do harm rule. And that oftentimes when students go off book, things happen, souls get severed, armies of zombies get raised and like kill whole small villages somewhere. And there are only so many faculty to clean up after these messes. So it's sort of a lecture on following the curriculum and listening and not branching out on your own. I'm not pointing out anyone specifically, but I think people will know exactly who I'm talking about based on those activities. And at the end, I'm going to say that if they have any questions, they can go speak to the master of the head of the department, because he was the one who was trying to indoctrinate everybody, and I would rather him do it than me.
Okay, so roll that teach to see how well this message is taken.
Okay. Why can't I find anything I ever call up? Teach. Roll plus charisma. Okay. Now, when you're teaching, does that automatically give you the advantage of your department? Because obviously you're teaching in your department, or is that like exempt?
Because you are always teaching on your department, so it's part of the move.
Okay, so I get an advantage die. Let's see. So that's a 13.
Okay,
and even if I didn't have an advantage, it'd be 11.
Yeah.
So we're good.
So okay, it goes well, and nobody's raising any issues, and you are not bothered during the week. Everyone is forwarding any questions to the head of the department that is using this opportunity to indoctrinate these new minds and get them into their weird cult. So we get to Claire, that has a lot of free time this week to actually advance her projects. So why don't you roll me a small incestuous world to see which opportunities Claire noticed that escape everyone else?
Okay, I guess it's roll plus nothing. And let me pick a different color so I can see the difference here. Okay, that is an 8. So, there. 7 and a 9, choose one of these. You run into something you'd really rather have avoided, catch wind of some bad news that will affect your department, see 2 other faculty members doing something highly dubious and you're implicated or drawn in. I'm trying to think which of these would be the best since this is my last session here. Why don't I see some other faculty members doing something highly dubious and get implicated or drawn in?
Okay, so I think we get to Jamal that on this cafeteria or common space in which this happens, is reading of books that should not be out of their department or from the Campbell library. And who did he ask for help with some of the passages of the book?
Another professor or another PC?
It can be another PC or another NPC. You can say what you want, and I can drag a NPC that was established or a new one.
So I suspect the book has to do with Conrad Menzel's plight, which means that it probably has to do with obscure demonology and binding rituals, which, given our shared extracurricular history, implies Bellatrix to me, right? So it's possible that there's an allusion in the text to a demon lord that I seem to vaguely recall us both encountering.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so basically what Claire sees is Jamal with a book that really should not be here, asking about certain passages and diagrams to Bellatrix.
I have to fight the book It's one of the conscious ones, so I'm trying to keep it in my bag and shut it up with treats.
So, Claire,
Yeah.
what do you do as they try to hide this book that might or not be caffeinated?
So I think what Claire doesn't let on that she's seen anything, but she's a little miffed, a little jealous that Bellatrix is over there working with Jamal on clearly some other project that doesn't relate to the stuff that we were going to do together. And so she decides that, if Bellatrix isn't going to prioritize their research, then she'll have to. She's got Helena to work with, and she might be in for a little payback. So I think that Claire's going to try to surreptitiously snap a photo of this book and then email it to the dean.
That hates you.
Yeah, but if I'm
Uh-huh.
if I'm turning in someone else for breaking the rules, then that buys me a few points, right?
Is that a smooth? Or
That's
something else?
yeah. Let me look. This game has a lot of moves.
Yeah, don't you have a special move to ruin someone's life?
Do I? Let me see what
I know it's
forget
enough,
which.
but I don't know if you picked.
Let's see. No, because I've got one that helps me when I'm making a purchase order, and I've got one that helps me when a paper actually gets published.
Okay, so I think it's
So yeah, so it's I think that's probably schmooze, because I'm trying to tell the dean that I'm a good, loyal person that's trying to help the university, maintain its resources appropriately and so forth.
Okay, so roll with disadvantage because there are strong chances that Eva is not even going to open your message.
Okay. So that's 3 and keep the lower 2. All right, so that's 8 and 9, 10 when I add my charisma.
Okay, so what you want? Something small or something big and complex?
So I'm thinking just to stoke the drama before I leave the game, since this is my last session. I'd like to go for something big and complex. I want these two to get in some real trouble with the dean, not just a finger waggy email to all staff, please remember to keep books in appropriate locations kind of thing. I want them to get called in for a personal talking to. So I have to give them a payment, favor, or bribe. So what would be a good payment, favor, or bribe to the dean?
So how did you upset the dean in the first place again? I thought it was something with how you changed the school calendar, I think.
Oh, right, because we did the whole curriculum revision, and I kind of pulled some strings to get so that I didn't have to teach a bunch of the intro level classes.
Yeah, I think that's what the dean asks you, that you'd reverse that, and starting next semester for the spring, you do the intro classes.
Yeah. So I think what I've got, I go on my email to send this picture. But before I send that email, there's another email that's like, asking people about which classes they plan to teach and trying to like, get people to be willing to teach these intro classes because, they're trying to get this schedule together. And so I first reply to that email that goes to the dean and say, actually, I'd love to teach, Magic 101 or whatever it is that's in my, that I'm qualified to teach. That's the intro class. So I'd love to teach that. I'm available pretty much anytime, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, if you want to put me on the schedule for a couple sections. And then I send the email with the photo, directly to the dean, ratting out these two for having this book. And I think the first one goes to like, all the dean and all the department chairs. So I'm like, making a real promise. I'm like committing it would be complicated to back out of that later.
Yeah, so basically the next day, as you come in the morning, everyone receives an email about the new security protocols on the library, that the books should not be taken care, that threats to freeze accounts of anyone that has been misusing department artifacts, that everything should be contained to its respective buildings. Otherwise, they will be subjected to financial review. And then you get summons to see the dean, Beatrix and Jamal. And you go to the administrative office, in which basically the dean's office is an entire room, and she has 4 secretaries just tending to her needs, and she has top of the line alchemy automata outside. And so you are front to front to the supreme overlord of Pigsmoke, the holder of all your fates, the decider of.
This is the secret power, or this is the department head?
No. This is the dean. This is the power above the department heads.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
but not like our secret master or whatever.
So, or maybe she is. So Eva Kowalski, and she is an awful person that always has two extreme ideas, and she has a very weird sense about testing the worthiness of students. And she is looking to you from her massive desk, finger pyramid, the shine of her glasses, preventing you from getting a good look at the expression on her face. And she says, "So, demonology, is it?"
I mean, that is what I'm here for mostly, right?
Oh, is it? I thought we were here for teaching.
Teaching demonology, among other things.
Yes, but not to anyone. It must be done to students that prove their worth somehow.
That I agree with.
Not
I don't know. Not who?
Yeah, that's why the books should remain safe. That's why we should restrict the knowledge to those that we know they are reliable. I thought that both of you agreed with this. I expected much better than you. And she shows on a projector behind her the photo on the lunch. What do you have to say about yourself?
Like any wonk, I have an enduring faith in like the actual intellectual value of our work and no head for politics. So I think I'll try to explain at great length in like painful but precise academic correctness why the Menzel family's curse justifies a breach of the rules, because it's that serious.
I'm going to wait to see what the response to that is before I go into anything.
If she lets me, I'll take over the projector. I have charts.
Yeah, you start going these charts.
As you can see.
Yeah, and she keeps looking at that, and at the moment that she seems lost, she's looking like to Beatrix to see if it's just her or Beatrix is just as lost as she is.
Am I just as lost? Probably not, but somewhat lost.
Well, let's say because it's the confluence of an agreement compelling them to do so, but then also has to do with the disposition of their soul. Like, perhaps you understand what happens, but not how the contract works.
Well, the Mansell are one of our major financial supporters. If anything is to happen to Comrade Mansell, we would be, well, in deep trouble, let's say.
I take a second because I don't understand any value other than intellectual inquiry. So I'm like, because you want money and money is good. Okay, then yes, let's keep him alive.
Yes, but they will also be rather thankful if we helped him in this endeavor. What is your academic opinion on that, Professor Rogers? Did you freeze, Pearl?
Rogers. That's sorry. I'm so used to Bellatrix. I forgot that my last name was Rogers. Honestly, what I think of this whole thing is that, as you emphasized in the beginning, we're here to teach, not babysit a library. With all due respect, I think the academic side has been covered well and curses and things, but like, you have to understand that our department is understaffed, and if you want the students to get our full attention, we can't be like going and checking on some books every 5 minutes.
Ooh. Okay. Is that a skate or something softer?
A skate. Is skate a move?
Yes.
I will look it up. Scathe. I don't know that I'm quite ready to scathe her, but I don't see anything else I can do. So sure, why not?
You can schmooze if you have a specific move.
No one should get me started on Old English. I'm just letting you all know it's a thing. I think scathe is appropriate enough, so I roll with charisma.
You won't be rolling with disadvantage because it's the freaking game. So
Okay.
Do it.
Do I get advantage because we're talking about my department that would cancel it out, or it's just disadvantage no matter what?
No, this is not stopping to make comments. This is money.
So I definitely failed that.
Okay. So the dean seems to be pretty upset at your sheer audacity. I am pretty sure that we are pretty generous with the funding that each department gets. And seriously, the only department that has grounds to complain is Elements, but honestly, who cares about elemental magic in the 21st century? No. You are expected to babysit people, or libraries, or whatever it matters, if that is on your responsibilities. And it's better if you remember that, Professor Rogers.
I will do my best. I apologize for the transgression.
In fact, I have just a thing for you.
Uh,
Hooray!
yes, you both seem to be especially experts in dealing with otherworldly affairs. So there is a petition to have some elves and other fake creatures enroll or maybe even join the faculty of Pigsmoke. And this is something that nothing will delight me most because there is no other academy in the world that can claim such feat. And I think you could be the perfect emissary. In fact, one of the fake nobles that has been involved on this discussion has actually requested you and Professor Saint by name. So I guess you can take this file over. Uh, she gives you a big file on a lot of very possible faculty members and students. Now, as for you, Professor Nelson, I expect you to go deeper into this curse. And if you, ideally, I expect you to make progress in attenuating its effects or even solving it, and to remind the Mansells that it was all because of the efforts of the faculty staff of Pigsmoke, or at the very least, keep Conrad alive.
I can't suppress a genuine geek's delight in being told to do a lot of research on a specific topic. I have a later step when I leave the office.
That is all. And she turns on her chair to look ominously out of the window.
In the opposite reaction, Bellatrix just kind of slumps. She would much rather do research and things than handle any of this nonsense. And she has a sneaking suspicion that, what is it, Micheline?
Yeah, I was going to say that. What is her reaction when she opens the folder and the first name she sees is Mithiline's?
I think she's gonna call Helena Saint, and see if Helena has had specific dealings with Micheline.
Oh yeah,
because my dealings were not so pleasant, really.
yeah. The question is if she wants to tell you because Mithilin is exactly the fake princess that lost the cat, and Claire saw her on social media with Elena. The question is, what does Elena answer?
Helena is probably like out on the grounds setting cold iron cat traps. And she gets the call and she answers, "Oh, Bellatrix, what can I do for you?"
Well, I just spoke to the dean, and you know how the dean is.
Terrible person.
Yeah, we're all thinking it. We might as well just say it. And I have been assigned a number of tasks that I don't want, in addition to teaching, and not offered any more money for them. Shocker. And one of them is to apparently welcome some Fae to possibly teach here. And I noticed that the first person in the folder I was given was the one I had the main bit of interaction with in the forest, where they destroyed my skeleton army and were kind of disdainful. Do you happen to know her?
And I think like we're like FaceTiming at this moment. Like you send the picture, and like you see Helena's face go from like cheery, like completely shocked. No, not at all.
Well, okay. So if we were to run into you on campus, it wouldn't be a big deal?
Why would you run into me on campus? I mean, There's so many places to go, so many things to see, so much cold iron shavings I need to put around my office.
I'm obviously noticing this
okay.
reaction.
Okay, look.
Like, okay.
You can't tell anyone, but my paper, the research, Fey mating rituals, and she lists off the fabulous title that it comes with. I may have done some hands-on research with Mytilene.
Please tell me you had consent.
Of course. And Joe, she did too.
Okay, so that sounds positive, right?
I didn't stay the next morning.
Why on earth would you risk offending a Fae like that?
There was a unicorn herd out in the fields, and I had to go see it.
Did you invite her along?
She looked so peaceful when she was sleeping.
Oh, for
I screw
Pete's
up sometimes.
Helena, you're like the Fae expert. That's not a screw up. That's like a recipe for being destroyed.
I followed every other protocol. Oh, lords.
All right, so I guess I won't be turning to you on this one, Father.
Well, I did want to make up with her, so maybe?
Could you leave some sort of I'm sorry gift in my office that I could relay? I don't even know what to give Fae people. Like, I don't imagine a box of human sweets is probably the thing, and it's just not my department.
I'll leave you a box of her favorite foods, a list of her favorite topics, and her favorite flower. I can make you a wreath.
Okay. Would you like me to tell her they're from you?
Yes?
Oh man, this is not going to be my day. Okay, well, this has been an interesting conversation. I guess send over the basket. If you want to send maybe a document with your general Fae observations, I just want to bring skeletons back to life. Like, why is it so hard around here to just get my job done?
Greed, incompetence, malaise. Lots of reasons, really.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I just, back in the day before things got so bureaucratic, Steve, the skeleton, and I, we had time several times a week for our chats, and now I barely get to see him. This place is going down the tubes. Now they're inviting elves and fae to be on campus and assigning them to us as though they don't know that they have mortals in complete disdain in their minds, and our students are messing up spells and having their souls severed from them. And
wait, what?
oh, did you miss that bit?
Well, at least they're not being mauled.
I'm not sure that would be worse, because I don't know where the soul went, but I think it might be trapped in the walls of the school. I'm just getting too many instructions from too many people at this point. The elves and the fae want something, the dean wants something, the mysterious power that tells me what to do wants something. And I really just, I could
I can
use a
definitely help you
strength.
with that mysterious power.
You could?
I could definitely help you with that mysterious power. Yes. I adopted a bar guest yesterday. It can smell the spirits of the deceased, especially those that are misplaced.
Can it put them where they go? Or it just notices they're there and then we all are unhappy about it?
It can find them You will have to use your necromantic potential to put it right.
It's just this whole thing is very new to us. You know, we mostly just like reanimate dead things and that sort of thing. The soul severing, like we wouldn't do that. And I guess I'll try. Oh, for God's sake. I need to hit the library. Do you want to get a coffee?
That
I'm gonna
sound,
need to be up all night.
yeah, I think like the trap behind her springs, and she's like, "Oh!" When she turns around, it's just like a normal cat. Yeah, coffee sounds nice.
Okay, let's do our weekly moves, the time-consuming moves. So let's go through the order of the character keeper. So what is Claire using most of her time this week on?
So I think she is going to delve deeper on her skeleton here to figure out how to reanimate it, since she hasn't been talking to Bellatrix as much recently. So she's trying to see if she can. Yeah, she's trying to see if she can work out some of this on her own. So that's plus.
Okay, so go ahead.
Research, which is -1 because I'm not actually good at my own research. So that's a 7. So
okay, so that's one question or filling one cross on one of your many projects.
Let me ask, what here is not as it appears to be? Since that skeleton has been sitting in the closet with the waste products for a while, I'm guessing something is not as it should be.
It is true. You are very carefully working along the skeleton. You drill small samples and you send it to spectrometry, even if you dislike the over scientification of alchemy. You have to admit that that is useful. And good thing that you send it, because the results not only reveal that there is a contamination, they reveal that slowly but surely something has been transmutating the skeleton. And you remark that a lot of the mineral that had replaced the bone in the fossil is being replaced by titanium, and that there seems to be markers for living tissue within the bones of the skeleton. So it seems like something is growing inside the bones, and the bones themselves are becoming replaced with some kind of metallic alloy.
Okay. So this is something that's only detectable with these tests. It's not like visible.
Oh
to
no,
me
no.
looking at it.
It's only
Okay.
trace elements, but it's definitely happening. Something that it was exposed to and contaminated is making this slow transmutation.
Okay. I think that, and I can wait to do this until we've gone around and have everybody do their time-consuming moves. But I think this is a good time to call up Helena and see if she's heard of any creatures that are living on the inside with a metal exterior.
Yeah, so let's go around. And the next person will be Beatrix. So what possible time-consuming move you want to do?
Oh God, I have so much. Books. I'm going to keep looking into the demon tattooing thing because the supreme power told me not to stop that work.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably the best choice. I have a feeling. I mean, unless it is the dean, I have a feeling it's scarier than the dean.
So you're gonna do that by delving deeper or by interacting with the Pigsmoke's bureaucracy?
Definitely by delving deeper. Um, so
Okay,
book
go ahead.
research. Now this is related to my department. Can I take the whatever it's called advantage on this one? So I'm like directly studying like demon procedures.
Where are you seeing that?
I thought when you rolled something that was
Oh, that's only
like
for
directly for your
sorcery.
department.
Yeah, I thought that
Only
was
for
on.
sorcery.
Yeah.
I am bad at mechanics. I forget.
Yeah. Okay,
things.
so just
Okay,
delve
so one
deeper.
set of dice. Uh, I guess that's a 9.
Okay, so you get to ask one, or fill a box.
Uh, let's see. I don't think I have enough. I mean, maybe I should be working to fill the boxes, but like, I'm so far behind on that um, that it just feels kind of pointless at this point. Because you have to fill how many to actually publish? It's like a lot,
5.
right? Yeah, I have like 1 on either of my
Yeah, but
projects.
if we play 2 more weeks. It's just that today we were unusually focused on a single week.
Right. But mine are with Claire, both of them.
Yeah.
And Claire's not going to be here for.
Yeah. Also, don't forget you can get NPCs in to help.
Okay. Sorry. I'm tired and there are a lot of rules. Let me see what the other options are. I'm actually going to ask something else rather than marking the researchy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who do I know who might have a vested interest in this, other than the obvious Helene or Helena? Because I already know that. But who else that I know might have a vested interest in this?
I guess you already knew about the Mansells from the debriefing on the deans. So you know that the Mansells will be interested on this, and you know that Elena might be interested in this to the connections. You know that maybe your cult is also interested on this, but then you learn that there is another demon lord that it is a demon lord that has been trying to get a foothold into Pigsmoke for a while. What was the name of that demon lord again?
Kagumid, which
Yes.
I'll put in chat.
Yeah. So Kagumid has been trying to get a foothold in Pigsmoke for a while, and you get the feeling that a lot of this advanced research might be from former cultists of Kagumid that have been teaching their children how to resist the peer pressure to join demon cults in high school. So either people that are alumni of Pigsmoke or the children of those, they probably have some connection and of this sort of resistance against government.
You're muted.
I hate that. Under Delve Deeper, there are 2 different questions that are similar, right? Who do I know who might have the vested interest, and what sort of people that I don't know might have the vested interest? And I was sort of trying to go for the former in that I'm going to want to go to someone who I know and trust and can talk to if possible.
Okay, so someone that you know. Well, I guess that Jamal, is that Jamal, who is a former cultist of Kakamet. Think that you learned this.
But he's not coming back, is that right?
Yeah.
Ugh,
So an
I give
actual
up on this
useful
riddle.
answer
I
to
can't
that
figure anything out. What? Sorry?
an actual useful answer is you learn that actually one of the head of departments, Professor Fernandez, actually wrote a paper on using elemental magic to close gates, and some of her evidence was actually on dismantling a cult of this demon. So you're muted again.
And that teacher's name was what again? I'm sorry.
Professor Fernandez, she's the head of the Department of Elements.
Okay, I'm gonna note that on, like, under my keeper, just so.
And it's